Hi, this is Brett Bean, and this is Illustrators Deathmatch. Well, the journey's been a very strange one. Bumps and highs and lows. I can go through the whole experience. I was a 3D environment artist, and then I didn't want to do that anymore. So I tried my hardest to start doing concept art. Took some side classes to improve in certain areas that I wasn't very good at. I got my foot in the door, and then started in games, and then the first job I got as a concept artist, I ended up, we all got laid off because the game got canceled. So that was my first experience as a concept artist, and then I bounced around from Austin, Texas, Bend, Oregon, Seattle, San Francisco. This is all in the United States, and then found my way to Los Angeles. And my wife and I got tired of bouncing around, so I decided to go straight freelance. So instead of studio jobs, I decided I wanted to stay in one area and just concentrate on being a freelance artist. And so I started gaining clients, doing conventions, and kind of having sketchbooks and art prints and stuff to kind of get my name out there, and social media. And now I'm here in Querétaro, and that's up to this point. The project I've enjoyed developing the most probably hasn't happened yet. I've enjoyed all of them, but each one of them kind of overrides the next one because I learned a little bit more from the last one, so I bring those into the next one. And then there's always a new challenge and a new thing. So I think I'll always think it's the next project. It's always going to be the next thing. But if I had to choose, it was probably finishing my entire graphic novel alone. I did all the writing and the editing and the art and the colors and self-published it. So that was probably, up to this point, the biggest mountain that I climbed by myself. So that wouldn't probably be it if I had to choose one. There's not enough film in your camera for me to go through all the influences in my life. But I would say probably the biggest one from my childhood is probably Bill Watterson from Calvin and Hobbes, and probably Gary Larson from Far Side with his humor. I really loved all the comic strips and that kind of stuff, and so I try to bring a lot of humor into my art when it comes to character design and visual development, probably from those moments from childhood. But a lot of directors, Guillermo del Toro, George Lucas, Jim Henson, Joss Whedon. There's just so many people out there, and so many character designers and visual development artists that I try to take it all in. So it's hard to make a list because a new influence comes in every day when you're kind of open to it. So it's hard to make a list. What made me decide to be a visual artist? Well, I wanted to be a veterinarian, and it was going to take a lot more school. And then I wanted to go into psychology, interpersonal communication, and I actually went to school for that for a couple of years, and then realized that it wasn't necessarily for me. Instead of trying to helping people with their problems, I wanted to make them laugh more, and I always liked drawing, and so I transferred a lot of my knowledge of observation, watching people from the psychology that I started, that I use that in visual development and characters and gesture. So I'm using all the stuff when I changed over, but I really just enjoyed it, and so I found my way to art school, and then I'm doing now, and each step is a stumble, and then you pick yourself up and you go, oh no, this is really the direction I want to go. So it's just finding the light through the dark. You're just wandering around until you find it, and you go, oh yeah, this direction, oh right, oh I hit a wall, that's not it. Then you go the other way, and oh okay, that's a wall. And slowly over your life, now that I'm in my late 30s, everything's become more clear, because you're finding, if you're driving down a road, you're looking for the two side points where you can drive. And so you kind of swerve this way and swerve this way, and then oh, this is how wide my road is, and this is where I want to go. But it just takes time and effort to kind of find that. So. What do I do when I'm drawing? Listening to music, playing with my kid, hanging out with my wife. I'll go to movies. I love beach volleyball, so I play a lot of volleyball. Probably too much. I play about 4 or 5 times a week. And then I try to have experiences like this where I get to see parts of the world I wouldn't normally see, and talk to people. I'm one of those people that will go to a coffee shop and strike up conversations with a stranger and learn something about them, because sooner or later, one out of those 5 experiences I'll use later on when I'm back to drawing. So I try to keep an open mind and heart when I'm around people. So that's probably my other thing. It's really fun to kind of just meet new people. How would that illustration be of my experience here? It would probably be in a bunch of cut segments with lots of different styles. So one would be a flat color image, one would be hyper rendered, one would be cartoon, and one would be zoomed in really close, pixelated. And then on top of that, I would smear a torta over it, mixed media, and then on top of that, I would splash little bits. I would take a paintbrush and go blues, reds, greens, yellows, until the whole thing is almost like a kaleidoscope of all the colors I've seen. But I would actually make the whole border closer to the reds and the oranges that I see predominantly used in the towns and stuff that I've seen, would be the border around it. So it would be a giant mixture of the artists that I've met, the enthusiastic people I've met, and then the overall tone that I kind of have felt over the last week in Querétaro in Mexico.